Yo, what is up? So, I am looking handsome and muscular and amazing as always. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment because we are currently in the late months of the year, in December of 2024. I recently got my flu jab because I am not an anti vax maniac. I enjoy getting vaccinations, I enjoy giving blood, I enjoy anything involving a needle, apart from taking like heroin and stuff like that, which are bad drugs and must never be touched. Because I like people saying relax your arm, even though my arm is already relaxed. And I like feeling like I'm not going to get the flu, even though it may still happen. But anyway, got some jokes I want to go through with you today. So here we go. Which snake is best at maths? The adder. My eldest boy is obsessed with Number Blocks. It is a TV program on the BBC which is pretty educational, but we were watching an episode on the number 88 and he asked me why it is shaped like a swastika. He's watching a lot of vocabulary related videos at the moment. There was one in which I heard the term monster police utility vehicle, which I don't know how much use he's going to be getting out of that one, but any words are good words to learn, I suppose. What do you call a child molester on a submarine? A torpedo. Michael Jackson did, of course, warn us that he was a PDF. He said, I'm bad, you know it, Shimon, etc. The thing I like about transphobes is they think that there's a force field around women's toilets that prevent men from entering them. But if a man transitions to become a woman, the force field magically no longer has any effect, and they can rape as many women as they please. Because rapes only happen in public toilets, it would seem. Trans people who end up male can have maniversaries. And trans people who end up female can have fanniversaries, right? Makes sense. Kemi Badenoch, the latest demon to lead the Tory party, has a great track record of hating gays, wanting trans people to stop existing, and being a complete fucking idiot. She said she became working class when she worked at McDonald's when she was 16, despite coming from a middle class family. She didn't want to get rid of conversion therapy, but believes that gender affirming care is the new conversion therapy. So that's... don't know if that makes sense. And she believes that DEI, aka diversity, equality, and inclusion, is counterproductive because it benefits gay employees. Seems like that's the exact fucking point. She was, interestingly enough, the Minister for Women and Equalities from October 2022 until July of 2024. So she is a real piece of shit. How many American police officers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They're all too busy killing black people. My missus was complaining to me about her therapist the other day. I said, the whole point of you getting therapy is so I didn't have to listen to you complaining, not to give you another thing to complain about. I was pushing my trolley across the Sainsbury's car park the other day, and after I had pushed it across a pedestrian crossing scenario, someone in a car in the vicinity shouted at me in a passive-aggressive manner, "Thank you." Ben Shapiro is famous for saying facts don't care about your feelings, and he is also a person who wears a hat because he believes that a clearly made up God has instructed him to do so. Democrats have been decrying the choice of Kamala Harris as their presidential candidate. I agree. I think a toilet seat would have been a better choice for candidate, as long as it was white and old and male. I don't know what a male toilet seat would look like. The thing about the thing I enjoy most about natural disasters is when they say 50 British nationals died in the tsunami, like that somehow makes it worse. Like I should care more because they're British, like I think it'd be good if they just said this is how many white people have died in the disasters to make it clear that it is only non-whites who we must not care about when it comes to natural disasters. Those are all the jokes I wanted to go through with you today. Let us go through them again presently after I have flexed my muscles in such a fashion as to be pleasing to the eye. If you enjoy men flexing their muscles on video, it doesn't necessarily make you a homosexual. It merely means that you enjoy the male form, which has no bearing on your sexual proclivities. In any case, the first joke was which snake is best at maths. I would surmise that the adder would be great at maths because that is his name. He can add. My eldest son is currently in the process of learning addition. He comes to me often with these problems, such as what is 4 plus 5. I have to pretend that I don't know the answer and allow him to tell me what the answer is, even though I know all answers to all maths questions that involve like addition. I feel like addition is the easiest. So I look pretty intelligent, to my eldest son at the moment. I suppose he may get to the point where he's better at maths than me, but not presently. I am way better than him, so deal with it. He is also, he's enjoying number blocks at the moment, and he is, like the number 88. You sort of look at the number 88 and you think two fat ladies, right? That is the classic thing with 88, but apparently it's also to do with Nazis. It's all to do with neo-Nazis, because 88 is apparently like a way of saying HH, like it's the 8th letter in the alphabet. So if you say 88, then you are in fact saying Heil Hitler, which doesn't seem immediately obvious. But if you see a person with 88 tattoos, then that is what it means, unless they love bingo and number 88 is their favorite bingo call out. But I doubt it. It's probably that they're massive racist. He watches a fair number of videos. There are a lot of people online who say that children who watch videos are not going to turn out well. It's a nightmare for them to do so. Anyone who allows their children to watch videos is a bad parent and should buck their ideas up. But he watches these videos where they go through many things. They'll name a bunch of things in a row, and the Monster Police utility vehicle scenario was part of a series in which a person was going through monster trucks. So it started out with monster truck, which is I can see the utility of learning that phrase because you may come across monster trucks in your day-to-day life. That is a logical thing to learn. And then it went to monster police car, monster ambulance, monster fire engine, whatever. All these different things which basically were normal vehicles with monster wheels on them. So it's again, you kind of think, well, it's not necessarily the most useful thing to learn, but at least we're kind of playing around with what is an ambulance, what is a fire engine, all this kind of stuff. So that's fair enough. But then when it came to monster police utility vehicle, I've never said police utility vehicle in my life. I don't even know what the fuck that is. So to learn a monster version of that is like pointless. So it's a head scratcher, but child molester on a submarine is of course called a torpedo. I feel like putting child molesters in submarines would make sense, and then you could do that classic thing of sinking it real deep and then letting it implode like those billionaires did, and we all enjoyed that about as much as you can enjoy anything. So if you put child molesters, just round them all up, put them in a series of submarines, sink them down real deep in the sea, and implode them, and then that will be a nice way to get rid of them all, I guess. I feel like that'd be a good way to execute people, because at the moment the main execution method that is done in the world is like lethal injection. I feel like that's quite boring and it goes wrong a lot of the time. They somehow mishandle the lethal injection scenario. So I feel like if you're not going to go down the classical route of like guillotine or hanging or something of that nature, then let us at least do something that will be like interesting, like putting child molesters in submarines. Michael Jackson did warn us he was a PDF. I don't know if he was a PDF. It seems unlikely given the evidence, but we may never know for certain. But I like the idea of him having lyrics in his songs which he was pointing to and saying, I'm a bad man and I've done bad things, so you should probably put me in jail at this point because I'm always around kids. And being in this position of power is perhaps a dangerous scenario. The thing I like about transphobes is that there is a thing where transphobes believe that public toilets have force fields around them, and if you are a man, if you're like just a dude who has not gone through any sort of gender reassignment scenarios, then it's impossible to get in a women's toilet. Like, I can never get in a women's toilet because there's a force field and I may never enter. But if I were to go down a gender reassignment route, then suddenly I would have access to women's public toilets and I would be able to rape as many women as I please. That would seem to be the thing that transphobes think is going to happen. Yeah. It's going to say anything. I think it just comes down to like where do you think most rapes are happening? Like, I feel like the most common place for rapes to be happening is surely the marital bed. Like, people who are in an ostensibly consensual relationship, if one member in that relationship decides they want to have sex and they're going to force themselves on the other, then that suddenly becomes rape. And so that is often going to be the situation in which that happens. Like, public toilets is such an insane place to believe that rape and sexual assault is going to happen. So it's kind of a red herring, and it's just a way for people to jump on this bandwagon. We need more people on the bandwagon of hating transphobes, because that is like a gateway drug to then becoming homophobic, fully homophobic, hating gays, hating trans people, hating anyone that isn't normal. Like, we all need to get with the program that men sleep with women, they have babies, and then they believe in Christianity and go to heaven, and that is the normal way of things, and people just need to get with the program already. I feel like the trans people having anniversaries for when they transition to the new gender is probably a thing anyway. I don't know for certain, but I feel like it would make sense to have kind of like a maniversary or a fanniversary. I believe in America, fanny is not something they talk about when they're talking about vaginas. It is perhaps a bottom, but I don't know. In the UK, a fanny is a vagina, so a fanniversary would make sense in that scenario, and a maniversary would make sense for someone going to a man. Kemi Badenoch, she's got bad in her surname, so it seems like a red flag if she's a bad person. She hates gays, she hates trans people, she wishes they did not exist. And she's pretty fucking stupid, because like the thing of saying I became working class. I became working class when I worked at McDonald's is diabolical, really, because the whole point of being working class is you have struggled and suffered and had more diversity in your life, and you've had to take this stupid job at McDonald's in order to get by and in order to just live your life. So the fact that this middle class woman obviously got this McDonald's job, I guess, for her CV to be like, look, I've had this normal job, even though I'm clearly like on this fast track to become an MP, because I come from a middle class background and I've had all these opportunities that other people haven't had. And so the Tory party naturally want black people to come on board. They want non-white people to come onto their team of massive racists and massive, homophobic demons, so that then they can have this shield, like the Tory party, in the same way that Republican Party, in the same way that a lot of political parties who espouse racist and misogynistic and homophobic rhetoric want to have shields that they can use against attacks on them, like black people, like brown people, like gay people, to come onto their team, so that then they can say, hold on, David Tennant, how dare you attack Kemi Badenoch, because she's black, right? She's black. You can't attack a black woman. She's the only black woman in the Tory party, in the Tory shadow cabinet. So how dare you attack her? She's black. She's a woman. Like, she's got all these like good things the Tory party want to use as shields against attacks against her, which are legitimate. And she has said things that are anti-trans, that are anti-gay, that are anti, just like logic. So like saying conversion therapy is a bad thing, we need to get rid of it, is basically saying like she didn't want to get rid of conversion therapy because she's like, gay people can be converted. Like, gayness is a mental disease, so of course if you go to conversion therapy, they can flip that switch, make you normal, make you straight, make you like women, and get with the program, because we all know that that is the normal thing to do. She believes, and she then to also say that gender affirming care is the new conversion therapy is like, well, you don't believe that the old conversion therapy is a real thing, or I don't know. She cooks my brain to think about, because she's such a dummy and comes up with all this stuff. And the fact that she was the minister for diversity, and then she was like, diversity is actually stupid because it benefits gay people, was diabolical. How many American police officers does it take to change a light bulb? I feel like there's many jokes that could be made about black people being shot by American police officers. They love doing it. It's one of their favourite things to do. So if they were given the challenge of changing a light bulb, they would say, no, I cannot waste my time doing this. I must simply carry on shooting black people into oblivion for nothing. So that is why that one is funny. I was pushing my trolley. No, next one is, it's therapy is a weird thing, because I feel like a lot of people do it, and it's like, I think it's been normalized massively. Like, I've been in therapy, a lot of people have been in therapy. It's kind of like a normal thing to do now, and I feel like people have bad experiences, good experience. Like, people complaining about therapists is normal, or like, if you, whatever the title of the person you're talking to, complaining about them is fine. Like, one person I had that I was having counseling with, I said I was like having these obsessive thoughts about stuff, like I was obsessing about stuff, and she piped up like, well, obsession is like a medical term and you shouldn't really use that. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking in like a normal conversational parlance, and you're coming up with like, oh no, that's actually a medical term, you shouldn't be using that. It's like, get in the bin, mate. So you don't always get on with the person that is your therapist or your counselor or whatever the case may be. So complaining about it is normal, and it was a joke to say that I would say that you shouldn't be complaining about a therapist, because the whole reason for getting therapy is so you don't complain so much to me anymore. I was pushing my trolley. So the thing is, right, when you're pushing your trolley around a Sainsbury's car park, around a supermarket car park, around any car park which is adjoining a retail environment, you are in a car park. I've seen altercations in car parks which have been diabolical. There was one next to like a Halfords where this woman was cycling her bicyclette and a car sort of slammed on the brakes. There was a screeching of brakes. So I turned around and looked at this person in his car, and he unleashed a flurry of, you know, real obscene words at her, like, how dare you be in this car park riding your bike? It's a real dangerous place to be, don't you know? And in actuality, a car park should not be a dangerous place in which to ride your bicyclette or walk or push a trolley, because it's not a racetrack, it is a car park, and you should be driving at an incredibly slow pace in preparation for you either parking your car or extricating yourself from this car park environment. You should not be looking to run people over or cause an argument of some description. So it was kind of weird to get this person like shouting at me. Like the normal thing I get shouted at me is like, look at the size you, like, fucking start, you've got too many muscles, whatever. So to have someone shout thank you in like a passive aggressive fashion was you know, a turn up for the books. And I kind of felt like, why should I say thank you? The only time that you say thank you when you're crossing in a crossing scenario is maybe if you're like a zebra crossing, pelican crossing scenario, and it's like a busy road. If there's like loads of cars, it's like quite a lot of traffic, and they stop for you, and then you cross the road, it's normal to put your hand up as like a thank you for stopping, because it's a road. It's a bit of a imposition to then stop for pedestrians to cross the road. But in a car park scenario, you shouldn't be going fast at all. You should be going max 5 miles an hour. So to stop should be easy and expected and normal. And to shout out your window thank you in a passive aggressive fashion is outrageous and deserving of the maximum punishment imaginable. So Ben Shapiro, he comes up with a lot of stuff. He sort of tries to sell himself as an intellectual, as a person of maximum intellect, and only sort of believing in things that have been proven as a fact. He believes that facts don't care about your feelings. That's one of his main things. So I like the idea of him forever wearing his kippah on his head, and you know, it's obviously fine to wear whatever religious, you know, accoutrements you want to wear, but to then come up with facts don't care about your feelings is like, well, is it a fact that God wants you to wear that? Is it a fact that God exists? It's a weird, you really don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to facts don't care about your feelings when you're wearing something of that nature. Yeah, I feel like the Democrats came out of the woodwork when Kamala Harris lost the you know, battle for the presidency by a huge margin, and everyone was shocked at how much Trump just annihilated her. But they should have seen it coming, because it's basically like, she's a woman, which is a problem. She's not white, which is a problem. And she's not that old. So like all three things that you need to be a president of the United States, she didn't have. So I feel like, you know, the sort of problem with Biden is he had reached the kind of maximum of one of those. Like, he's a dude, he's white, and he's just too old. He's just too old. He's like just reached the maximum of that one thing. So it's like, just get another slightly less old, but equally white, equally male person, doesn't matter what else they have going for them, to be the presidential candidate. And then you have a really good chance of winning, because a woman will never be elected president of the United States. It is impossible, absolutely impossible. And Barack Obama, being the first non-white president of the United States, was sort of like borderline miraculous. Like, it's still a wonder to me that happened. And like, obviously he was at least demonic. So that's another thing you probably need to have. Like, I love drone strikes. Maybe that was the thing that kind of pushed him over the edge of like, I'm not white, but I love drone strikes. So is that, can I kill like a few hundred people, innocent people, with drone strikes, please, during my presidency. And they were like, perfect, you've got the presidency now, because that has pushed you over the edge. And like, yeah, a toilet seat would have been a better presidential candidate. Like, an object would be a better candidate. Like, I feel like a toilet seat would be fine because it can stand up, it can sit down. It kind of makes sense. Like, it could be on TV. Like, it's not a ridiculous thing to see on the TV, just a toilet seat sat there. And then as long as it's white, which a lot of toilet seats basically are, and old, just get an old one. And then just the male thing is the only problem there, really, where it's like, how do you get a male toilet seat? I suppose, like, just cover it in piss, like just piss all over it, and then that now becomes a male toilet seat. So I suppose that's... The natural disasters thing, it's like, the good thing about global warming is there are more natural disasters now. There are going to continue to be more natural disasters. We're going to see more tsunamis, we're going to see more hurricanes, we're going to see more of all of these good things where people die in the masses. And always on the news, it is reported front and centre that there are X number of British nationals who have died in this disaster. Like, there's, 1,700 people have died in this tsunami, but 50 of them are British nationals. That is the critical thing that we really care about, because the remainder do not matter one bit. It is purely the British nationals that we need to worry about, because they're the ones that matter. They're the ones that we care about, because they live on the same landmass, they live on the same island that I do, so somehow that means I should care about them more, and their passing is, of course, more upsetting. These brown people, them dying is not a problem. Like, we can continue watching that all the live long day, but the British people, the white people, really, are the ones we care about. So let's get that straight, please. Those are all the jokes I wanted to go through with you, and I've also gone through a further examination of the jokes as well. So that is going to be the end of the video, I guess. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I made some mistakes, but I think the critical thing is that I make mistakes to prove that I am a human and I'm not like this weird AI generated bit of nonsense. So, hope you've enjoyed it. You take care. Peace.